Welcome, everybody, to this week's show. This is the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. I am your host, Russell Gibson. And this week, we are going to be going heavy into PSA, which was actually not really the plan, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think it's the right thing to do just because of all the different stories that are coming and sort of landing in PSA's lap, to be honest. We have to talk about LeBron James going to Philly, and we've got some listener responses to that. Actually, we've got a giveaway for that going to best hot take for LeBron James going to Philly will be gifted a NBA blaster box. We've got a few other things to talk about this week, but I won't go into it too heavily. I think probably just the best next thing to do now is just to get on with the show. Let's do it. LeBron James is joining the Philadelphia 76ers. The reports on this are actually a little bit varied. Some places will say that he's going on a 2-year contract. I also read something today that actually he's going on a 3-year deal. So it's 2 years guaranteed, and then the third year is a player option. So I don't think it really matters about the second and third year. I think the big story is now, because obviously each year that goes by, you have to expect less and less out of this guy. But let's just call it a 2-year deal. And here is the alternative contract that was released by Yahoo on a 2-year, $8 million veteran minimum deal, featuring a player option and a full 15% trade kicker. He actually cannot have the no trade clause in this because he hasn't been with the team for long enough. So I couldn't imagine they would want to trade him under any circumstances, though. And I actually think you would give LeBron essentially a no trade clause anyway. At least give him the respect for him to choose the team that he wants to go through if everything went terribly. Look, I'm super high on something like this. I think that actually we need to see more of this massive NBA stars taking a discount to try and get a championship. I've got no problems with this at all. In fact, I love it in terms of his legacy. And I really think the main reason why he did this is to get that next championship, to move his name up that list just a tiny bit more. He's currently got 4 NBA championships, which puts him into the same sentence as Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Manu Ginobili, Shaquille O'Neal. If he gets that next championship, that puts him into the same conversation as Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Dennis Rodman, Magic Johnson. And if by some miracle Philadelphia win it the next 2 seasons, then that puts him into the 6th championship, which is Jordan, Pippen, Kareem, and Cousy, that truly is that's rare air, isn't it? Simple as that. He's going to cop a lot of heat for this in terms of him jumping teams. I think that my preference to him would have been to go to the Warriors, just because him playing with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, I think that would have been absolutely insane. However, in saying him going to Philadelphia, I don't have a massive problem with this. And actually, in terms of a roster fit, it's probably worked out to be a little bit deeper of a roster. Looking at the 76ers depth chart, they're going to have Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and Embiid. I mean, that's a crazy team, isn't it? Going through it player by player, I think Maxey and LeBron are going to work together really well. I think Maxey will be able to set up LeBron and then vice versa. For listeners at home who have listened to the last few episodes and my huge surprise with LeBron being the leader in fast break points, actually makes sense that he'd be able to do that again, because Embiid is not getting up and down the court in any pace at all. He could be underneath the rim just cleaning up all those rebounds and just throwing the ball out to Maxey and LeBron, leaking out for fast breaks. I think actually that will work quite well. They've got him in here slotted as the power forward. I think that's really going to come down to defensive matchups, isn't it, really? Edgecombe is probably the biggest loser out of all of this. I think he's going to lose a lot of opportunities to be having the ball in his hands, catch and shoot opportunities, fast break opportunities. That's going to be dried up between Maxey and LeBron James. So that's obviously going to be a problem there. However, the defensive trio of Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James together, that's actually quite exciting because of the switchability of it all. LeBron isn't the greatest defender anymore, that's true, but he does still have his moments where he can still get out there and get after guys. So that's a pretty exciting defensive trio there. I don't want to go into any card value stuff at all, because next week we got Joe Fu coming on, and I want to go through the entire Philadelphia 76ers roster, actually. I think that will be really fun. I'm super high on Jaylen Brown coming across to the 76ers. It's really interesting, isn't it? Because it seemed to me like Jaylen Brown was a bit of a discard from the Celtics, and you just assumed that the Celtics will retool and then will keep building up Tatum's legacy. But the way that things have played out, actually, this is looking really good for Jaylen Brown's legacy. And you can't tell me that he won't be comparing championships to the Celtics and Jason Tatum over the next 5 or so years. I think Jaylen Brown is going to come out like a man possessed this year and really be getting after teams. So I think that's going to be a really, really fun combination there between Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, and LeBron James. Embiid, you can still only count on him 40 games of the year, but still, they've actually got enough front court depth to make up for this. I think having LeBron obviously is a massive, massive, massive coup. I think Boner's going to be good again. Dean Wade, they picked up from the Cavaliers. I actually love that guy. Do have a little bit of a problem with him being listed as a power forward. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but he probably will play some minutes there. I think Dominic Barlow is going to be really important to them. And then looking down the end of the bench here, I actually think Jabari Walker's going to be important to these guys too. They're going to need some height. And he's not the biggest guy, but he definitely plays inside. That's probably their weakness, isn't it? The Philadelphia team, just their sort of backup bigs. Yeah, I think Boner's going to be massive this year, isn't he? I think a lot of just so much cleanup time is going to be coming back to him. Basically 40 games a year when Embiid's not there. All right, so what's my hot take? My hot take is I've got no problems at all with LeBron doing what he's doing. I actually don't care if people are changing teams left, right, and center. If they're taking a huge discount, they're trying to win a championship. I love this. I think it's super cool. It's interesting for the NBA. It's something that came relatively out of left field for me. So it's not another year of the Thunder being the championship favorite again, or the Spurs going to be favorite again, or the Celtics going to be favorite again. It's Philadelphia and then the Spurs and then OKC. And so for me, that's super, super fun. I love that a lot. If it's going to be a hot take, I need to make this pretty hot, though. My hot take is LeBron's going to play 65 games and be in contention for all NBA third team. That's my hot take. Let's hear some of the listeners at home's hot takes and see what we've got here. Card Sharky Marky, he put up an Instagram video where hiding in some bushes, he's got his Lakers hat on and then he emerges out of the bushes with a Philly hat on. So super cool video on that one there.
G'day Russell, and you can't comp this. This is Card Sharky Marky. Wanted to give my 2 bobs worth on the LeBron James to Philly. The thing I've been in the card scene is how the hell are Topps releasing a signed 1-of-1 Philly goes to Philly card hours after he releases? I'm pretty sure that's an AI card. What do you reckon?
Alrighty, man. Thank you so much for the message. That's super cool. This is the card that Card Sharky Marky is referring to. It is the Topps Now LeBron James headed to Philadelphia for the 24th season. It is currently sold out, $11.99. It guarantees you a base card of LeBron James. However, you can also get the to 99, 50, 25, 10, 5, and 1-of-1 Superfractor, which looks a little bit like this. I'm sure AI was used in some part of this, but I think it just means that their graphics team knocked this out in about a day or so. Once the orders come in, they will then print them out. So that's basically how Topps Now works, is that people buy, they will print as many as people will purchase. They lock off the orders at a particular time and date, and then after that, no more orders can be put in. Every single person who makes an order will get a card for $12, and it just depends on whether you get an extra card or you get a refractor with that or not. So it's a fantastic system. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, not much of a conspiracy on that one, unfortunately, man. I hate to be the bringer of bad news for you on that one. If you think our content is worthwhile and you enjoy it, you can support us by heading to your favorite podcast platform, opening any of our episodes, and clicking support the show to make a one-off or ongoing contribution. If funds are a bit tight and you'd still like to support the show, you can help us out by following, liking, or subscribing on our social platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Just search for You Can't Comp This, and don't forget to turn on auto downloads on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you to Neon Trading Cards for your ongoing support. Head to neontradingcards.com, where you'll find a huge array of breaks: soccer, NBA, MLB, F1, AFL, NRL, WWE, and Marvel. Find Neon Trading Cards on Whatnot. Neon is the exclusive home of Lucky Card Co. Repack products, Australia's leading multi-sport repack company. Neon is also a Topps and Fanatics direct breaking partner. And this week on the neontradingcards.com website, we have got 2025 Topps Resurgence football hobby half case, pick your team, and a coin flip mini for the Pats, Bucks, and more in break 5627. Hit the website to find more breaks, and of course on Neon Whatnot channel. MLB, UFC, of course NBA, the lads have got it all. Neon have just launched their official second channel, Neon Trading Cards Plus. On the Plus channel, soccer, MLB, F1, AFL, NRL, WWE, UFC, and Marvel will be featured. Meanwhile, the main Neon Whatnot channel will run NBA breaks and the Lucky Cardco repacks. Get in, get ripping, and don't miss out. Neon is where the action is. From Rare Air Sports Cards, I personally think that it will take them a couple of months to find their feet for each player to work out their place in the rotation. If LeBron is all about the team and winning a chip, I think he may be best placed as the sixth man. Hot take, LeBron James, 26-27 Sixth Man of the Year award. That's actually a very decent hot take. You are currently in the lead, my friend. Ash Peters, they'll look great at times this season. Will win in the first round against someone like Orlando, and they'll have too many injuries to compete in the second round. It's the usual Sixers recipe, and that is a huge risk of this roster, man. The Embiid thing is a massive deal, and same as LeBron. He's getting on in age. I really think, though, that they'll be able to manage their minutes just because of the depth they have in this team. In some ways, they've kind of got a little bit too much depth. Like having Jaylen Brown, Edgecombe, Maxey, all those guys are young and chomping at the bit to get going. So if LeBron and Embiid takes games off, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. Brad Van Delft, it won't be pretty in the beginning. LeBron and Jaylen will demand too much of the ball, and it'll impact Maxey's output and VJ's creativity. I completely agree with that, man. Once the media rips them to shreds, they'll sort it out internally, make the playoffs, and take a second round exit to the Cavs. Then the media will jump on, what if LeBron chose a homecoming in Cleveland? Saying that, part of me hopes it works from day dot and they tear ship up. It'll be bloody fun to watch. You're right, man. They've become an NBA League Pass team instantly, haven't they? And it's going to be super cool to watch them do their thing. Matthew Hull, La Flop joins Le Injury and Le Salty Brown to revive the East chance at a chip. People still want to GOAT status him, even though he still shows little loyalty. Let's go Bulls. Yeah, he's not a loyal guy at this point of his career, is he? But when you actually break down all of his decisions to change teams, other than the loyalty factor, you can't actually hate him too much. I think leaving Cleveland when he did was probably the right move. I think going to Miami was poorly executed in the media, but overall a fantastic place to stay. Going back to Ohio and winning a chip was, again, fantastic for his legacy on his own, but also the city of Cleveland. I think that he could have stayed in Miami and built a long-term dynasty. I think Pat Riley definitely has the chops to do that. Going to Los Angeles is fantastic for business and everything else. So, and his celebrity status, I don't actually have a problem with him doing that. And now he's in his 40s and at the twilight of his career, going to a team on the minimum, for me, that's a 10 out of 10. So I see where you're coming from, Matty, but I just can't hate him for it. Paris Downey, what's up, man? Guys, if you don't know this, Paris from New Zealand, from the Card Codex, go and check their stuff out. It's just really good content. The GOAT is up to his old tricks again. That's going on another team, by the way. 100%. Yeah. Levi Coombe, all will need to be healthy for them to gel, and history shows that is unlikely for the most part. They have the ability to score, but defensively they will be light on, as is such with LeBron teams. Still looks like he's ring chasing, especially with all the reports that Philly wasn't even on his radar until they got Brown on board. He should have taken the minimum years ago to get himself another chip. He doesn't need the money. You know, that's actually a really good point. If he had taken the minimum in LA and they brought in Giannis or they brought in another big guy to help them, because I think the DeAndre Ayton experiment last year did not go to plan. And then when Redick was caught on camera saying that he just can't play him, I think that was the nail in the coffin. He's now been traded to Washington anyway. So 2 years with a player option for a third seems crazy to me, but he does have great medical team keeping him in the game. 100%. It's going to be the medical team in Philadelphia this year are going to have their work cut out for them. That 2 years on the player option, yeah, I've read sort of conflicting reports on this, man. I think it's actually a 1 year deal with a +1, but either way, it's kind of the least thing we need to talk about, isn't it, really? Al Keynes, what's up, buddy? Thank you so much for jumping in. I think it'll take half the season for the flop to integrate and the other half for 76ers to continue on the downward spiral. then the season after it's ring time so LaFlop can go out and retire on a high. I'm not even too sure what to make of this, but Al, we need to get you on to the podcast just to do a Bad News Bears episode, man. I think that would be sick. David Ralph, what's up, buddy? Will win a 5th title on the 4th different team and instantly increase the rent within all MJ fanboys and girls' minds worldwide. And from TikTok, we have got Carrot. LeBron is joining Philly. And Max Blake, LeBron will have his lowest averaging season ever. I think he's referring to points. And that is actually a very decent and sensible take, Max. I like that one a lot. Alrighty, thank you so much, everyone who did chip in and contribute. I think we have to go with rare sports cards. I personally think it will take them a couple of months to find their feet for each player to work out their place in the rotation. If LeBron is all about the team and winning a chip, I think he may be best placed as the 6th man. What a fantastic take. I love that. Hot take, LeBron James, NBA 26-27 6th Man of the Year award by Rare Air Sports Cards. Thank you so much, man. Great job. Alrighty, let's just do a little bit of a circuit breaker here and just talk about something completely different. This is from at Obi-Wan John Kenobi. Wow, 5Ks, pick your player break. Paid $550 for a skiing spot and literally got 2 base perspectives. $550, 5 cases. I'm so done with this BS. And it's a thing that happens to you, man, isn't it? And that's the risk of going into breaks. My sort of, not joke on that, but my thing on that is breaks can literally break your heart. And it seems to me like you're experiencing a little bit of heartbreak at the moment. I'm super hot and super cold on breaks. I will sometimes go into them every day or every second day, and then I won't go to them for weeks or, I'm sort of on almost a bit of a month's phase at the moment being out of breaks. So my rule on this, though, and I'm going to stick to this to the day that I die, is do your spending in thirds. So if you've got $150 to spend $50 on sealed product, whether that's retail, hobby, or I would even be talked into doing a repack for $50 at this point. I think there is some value to be had in repacks for $50. $50 on singles, and then $50 onto breaks. I think just doing breaks all the time, unless that's your thing and that's what you want to do, I think sometimes you can get into that sort of really negative space sometimes. In saying that, I actually love pick your player breaks, but yeah, losing $550 is never easy. So this is from the official Topps website or the official Topps account. First look, the all-new moment in time inserts capture some of the most iconic moments in NBA history. Look for them in Topps Chrome Update Basketball on August the 6th. So I love this because they're cool cards. I equally hate this because it is just a rip-off of Timeless Moments. And for all the praise that I was giving them last week about originality and doing something good, with this insert here, the alter egos, I am pretty well going to say it all in the opposite way. They have to come up with new original ideas and they can't just be leveraging off things that have already been done in Panini. I kind of get the whole concept of moment in time and timeless moments, and it's super cool and it's great, but I think what they probably should have done was named it something else and at least removed the time word out of it so you can't then make that connection to timeless moments. So what could it have been instead? Maybe iconic shots, or I'm going to put this to the listeners at home. What should this set be called instead? I think the other thing they need to do too is just basically improve the artwork on it. For me, this is a little bit too robotic. I think the Timeless Moments cards was done so beautifully with so much class and felt like you were looking at a portrait of something, and it captured it so beautifully. I think the other thing too is this is a horizontal card. I think for this type of picture card or story card, I think it has to be in the vertical. In saying that, they've really made the photography work for the most part on both of these. I think the Kyrie Irving could have been a vertical card. It does actually capture quite well with the Kawhi Leonard. Or again, maybe that's something they could do that actually could make it both horizontal and vertical depending on the piece of photography. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10 for the execution. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 for the concept. Hopefully this will improve. One last comment on this though, and this is from at Paulie Donuts. And actually, I've got a funny feeling I've quoted this guy before. So Timeless Moments without the auto, yeah, it's basically just like a shitter copy of Timeless Moments, 100% poorly. At Gem Rate, so this is us stepping into the whole PSA segment, which we're basically going to be doing for about the next 15 minutes or so, guys. There's a lot going on in the PSA space at the moment, a lot. Grading cards for last week alone, 539,000 cards, 200,000 cards with CGC. So huge numbers there at CGC. Beckett at number 3, at a very, very distant number 3 at 48,000. Tag with 13,000. SGC with just 10.3 thousand. There was a time that I really expected SGC to be number 2, where I was expecting them to have 200,000 cards for the week, not just 10,000. When you break it down, though, into sports, 135,000 for PSA on sports. However, 400,000 on TCG and non-sports. That's where we're seeing so much of the movement at the moment here. All right, let's just keep that number in mind, which was 500,000 cards. And now we have here the backlog stats. This is from @Ben Burrows. PSA latest backlog tracker update shows the total has jumped from 11 million to 12.4 million over the last 2 weeks. Now, just last week, we were talking about it being 500,000 cards a week being graded. We're actually going to get through this backlog really quickly. But in fact, in the last 2 weeks, we've gone backwards. We haven't gone forwards. Details from PSA. This increase was driven by a variety of factors, including increased submission volume in higher service tiers, an ongoing wave of shipments arriving to meet the 45-day eligibility window following our initial service tier shutdown, and convention season submissions. And I think that's a really interesting point, that we're in such early days, they still haven't processed cards that came in before the shutdown. So it's a little bit of a situation of me making a suggestion or even trying to make an observation just too soon last week, when they haven't even processed what was coming in before they shut down. Yes, just the sheer numbers of what they're putting through is just absolutely crazy, isn't it? This is from @neocards_comics. PSA has already closed down the $230 per card option at the National. That was posted actually just today. Today is day 2 of the National. And just the sheer popularity of, I was actually watching one of the videos of the queues. The queue to get into the PSA line was just absolutely astronomical. It just shows just how popular the PSA is, despite all of the problems that PSA reportedly have. The love for PSA is just unbeaten. This is from @PSA Card. To continue expanding our grading capacity, we've opened up a new grading facility in Plano, Texas. The location will immediately increase our daily grading totals to meet surging global demand. The opening of the Plano hub marks the direct implementation of PSA's broader $200 million strategic infrastructure investment designed to scale operations, modernize facilities, and optimize turnaround times for collectors worldwide. PSA Plano location operates independently within the same complex as Beckett, leveraging the collectors organization's ecosystem to meet demand. This milestone further accelerates PSA worldwide footprint, joining established hubs in Santa Ana, New Jersey, Boca Raton, and Tokyo. The Plano facility strengthens the network ahead of the launch of PSA Europe in Frankfurt, Germany, which is set to become a fully operational later this year. They're really pushing out, aren't they? Like, that's a huge investment. So clearly PSA sees no potential slowdown coming anytime soon if they're investing and spending money in this way. This is from @Boston Card Hunter. Value tiers are never coming back to PSA, accept it. Just bake the new pricing into the hobby and move along. In December, I said grading costs would go up 50% within 12 months, and people thought I was nuts. I got to agree with you, man. And I did a segment on this a while back when they announced the initial shutdown, and I was basically saying that send off your super cheap to SGC, send off your mid stuff to BGS, and send off your stuff that's important to you, that you want to get your best amount of money back off to PSA. It was not received well online, but there has to be some cards that do suit a cheaper submission process. You can't send every single card off to PSA if the price moving forward is going to be $50 or $100. In saying that, my card that I sent off during Hobby Hangout last year, so the date that I sent my card off to PSA for grading was Sunday, the 26th of April. So April, May, June, July. It's only actually taken 3 months to come back. and my grading fee was 50 Aussie dollars. So actually, the turnaround time was pretty reasonable. The grading fee, I think, is very fair at $50. Obviously, the price is going to be changing moving forward. The only thing I'm actually not sure about, and I need to go to the post office and pick up my card, I asked for it to be autograph and also card. So I'm a little bit surprised it actually came back so quick, but I shouldn't be publicly complaining about something I don't know all the facts on. So I might just leave that till I actually open up the card. Reading through some of the comments here, then another company came in and take over. All the normal people will be priced out and somebody else can take over. I definitely agree with that. I think there's some opportunity for another grading company to step in here and take advantage of the cards that essentially PSA can't or won't grade. And I think we're seeing that already a little bit here with CGC and Beckett. Yeah, but most of CGC cards is TCG because if you look here, 171,000 of CGC's cards was TCG and non-sport. Only 31,000 was CGC. So it's going to take a bit of a cultural shift for NBA dudes to go across. 38,000 of 48,000 for Beckett was sports cards. That makes more sense, doesn't it? Or traditionally, that's what we would normally see. They will 1,000% bring back bulk, likely by the end of the year. That was Satoshi King 420. Boston Card Hunter replied, not if people keep paying for regular. Yeah, 100%. Why would they bring back bulk and just make the problem worse again? Also, too, like it's a bit of a test, isn't it? Because if they test the market and they shut down these lower tiers and they're still getting 200,000 or 300,000 cards a month, and they do the numbers on that and it actually works out better for them, why would they bring back these lower tiers? They will never get cards under 5 million. They're talking about the total number in the backlog, and people will accept $80 as a new normal. Genius move by PSA. Yeah. But in saying that, PSA is clearly making an effort to open up and increase capacity, as we're seeing as them opening up a new station, another one in Germany coming up, and the one in Tokyo too. So at Dan J. Holly, this was my take in another thread in regards to value tiers. I've worked at software companies my whole life and saw the same story at every company I work at. Go after small and medium-sized businesses because there's so many of them. Wake up years later and realize that these customers are extremely expensive to support and demand the same level of service support as the large customers, but a lot smaller margins. You find an alternative path to service support smaller customers to keep money flowing and margins sane, aka AI support, chatbots, humanless experience based on those customers' jobs to be done. You move up market, enterprise, aka probably $250+ raw cards, to where the money is based on the money being spent for upgrades and how the current backlog has continued to grow at the higher tiers. Those numbers are going to scream during the board meetings. I also personally think that the writing is on the wall and it'll be hard to get back to value tiers, or you'll see it reinvented, digitized, companies already out there doing it. As someone just getting back into the hobby over the last 3-ish weeks, that's a tough pill to swallow since the PSA premium pricing may not be within my range, but I also think that's why competition exists. If you can't afford the best, there are solid options to get your feet wet and start the journey to find a way to premium offering. Well, yeah, Beckett, I think, is very, very good value at the moment and the second best option for sports cards. CGC, the numbers are so inflated, it's quite hard to get your head around that. But as soon as you break it down to the TCG component, where it's 170,000 of the 200,000 is TCG, it's not really a sports cards conversation. It's crazy for me to say this, but reading through what Dan said there, it does actually make me think that Beckett is going to be the big winner out of all of this. Thank you to US Sports Cards Australia for your ongoing love and support of our podcast. We cannot thank you enough. Go to ussportscardsaustralia.com.au. There you'll find sealed product, breaks, card protection, and of course Ross's water pistols. Also, go onto the website, click on the three little noodles, click on singles category, and there you'll find NHL, MLB, NBA, NFL, WNBA, soccer, TCG, heaps and heaps of different singles on there. Ross is building his consignment service. You can submit your cards on there. All You Can't Cop This listeners will receive a discounted submission. Just write You Can't Comp This onto your submission form. Let's check out what's for sale on the website at the moment. I've clicked on NBA and singles, and I found a Wemby rookie card for sub $10 AUD. It is the Mosaic Basketball Victor Wembanyama card for $9.60. Keep up the great work, Ross, and thank you to US Sports Cards for your ongoing love and support. This is from Gerard Probably. Imagine paying a premium for someone to give your card a grade when they can't even consistently tell the difference between a 9 and a 10. If grading was respectable, cracking slabs to regrade it would never be worth it. And yet people do it consistently and win. Yeah. Obviously, he's a PSA hater, which is totally fine. But so I think we should just round out this PSA conversation now and just say it's a huge, huge story in the hobby. And I think it actually does affect all collectors. And so we do have to keep our eye on this and keep it monitoring. Do I need to do 15 minutes on this every week? Absolutely no, I don't. But there was just a few stories that did actually just loop in. Before we do close the loop on this, there is actually one more story. I am only going to go through this quickly, though, because I really expect this story to go away as quickly as it's come onto the market. So this has been reported over a number of different platforms, but I'm going to go with this one here at Givner Ariel. PSA just got hit with a massive class action lawsuit claiming its entire multi-billion-dollar grading empire started with a known fraud. Certificate 1, the first card they ever graded, was a secretly trimmed T206 Onus Wagner. The grader knew it was altered. PSA's own rules banned it. They graded it a near mint 8. Anyway, never disclosed it and never pulled the grade. The same slab later sold for $2.8 million and is still certified. The complaint calls it the blueprint for a $15 billion market built on a lie. I mean, look, I think good luck trying to win this case. The whole document's here. I'm actually going to leave this at that because I think this is a really good way to finish off this PSA segment, just for the fact that it gives us something to look forward to talk about. In saying all of that, I'm not expecting huge fireworks to come out of this. Let's do a little bit of card porn. Michael Jordan, 1996 Fleer, Thrill Seekers, PSA 10. Look at the graph on that. Since 2019, that is just a straight line up. Even in 2022, you could have picked up one of these for about $20,000. So it's basically tripled or 4x'd in about 4 years. Population on this is 18. I can get around low pop PSA 10 Jordan inserts. The stuff I really struggle with is the high pop stuff that somehow keeps going up. For me, it's just very, very interesting. The card sold for $38,400 on June the 27th a year ago. It is up 103% and has sold 2 times since. So nice little investment there. That's going to make the Gary V's of the world be frothing. This is from at Tops News. Lewis Hamilton opened a trading card shop in Germany. I've loved collecting cards since I was a kid, so to now play a role in shaping the future of the category is incredible. Lewis plans to open stores in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia in the future. Is this a good or a bad thing for the hobby? Because I think the issue with having huge people operate in that space, it does take a little bit of the dust and the grime and the 20 years of a guy standing behind a counter trading with people and dealing cards with people. I think there is something really nice about those sort of super old school card shops that are run by the OGs. I think also too, this alludes to the next part of the conversation, which is product allocation and how that will be handled for a celebrity, because I think the one that comes to mind is the Tom Brady. I could not imagine that Topps wouldn't be giving this guy preferential treatment. And I would say the same thing with Lewis Hamilton, in that he's been massive for the F1 hobby for quite a long time. So I can't see how they wouldn't be taking care of this guy in some capacity. What's the upshot of this? I think it's fantastic for the growth of the hobby, making cards accessible to more people. I think that's fantastic. This type of advertising, it's hard to get it. So it's definitely a win overall for the hobby. Would I go to his hobby shop and spend time there? Yeah, if it was implemented in a thoughtful and caring way, I'd definitely be there to check it all out. I'd love to see some singles boxes though. Those $1 and $5 boxes is definitely where I'm at. Alrighty, guys, we've just got 2 more things to talk about tonight, and we are going to call this a day. This is from neocards_ and comics. Welcome back to COVID prices. So as you can see here, if I'm understanding this correctly, this is a handful of cards that has been indexed over March 2010 to July 2026. It is the Jordan 1986 Fleer, the Tom Brady 2000 Bowman, Ken Griffey Jr. 1989 Upper Deck, and the LeBron James 2003 Topps Chrome. As you can see here, this is COVID when we've got the LeBron James Topps Chrome base going all the way up to 10,000, coming back down here and then peaking up again here. So the Jordan 86 Fleer is actually technically higher than it was in COVID. The Tom Brady rookie card is higher than COVID. The Ken Griffey is higher than COVID. The only one that I think has come down is the LeBron James. And really, because it was up so high at that time. I've actually reached out to these guys to come onto the pod and have a chat. I think this is a really, really good piece of content that they've come up with here. I had Matt Harper come on last week and we were talking about how the hobby is doing really well at the moment and how the hobby is in a really healthy state. And my takeaway or my observation of this chart is I wonder if this is actually collectors just becoming a little bit smarter. And I'm saying this in a genuinely nice way. Like, this is not to throw shade at people or anything like that. The issue with COVID was that everything went up indiscriminately. Whereas a chart like this, which is very, very specific to a handful of cards, who are the big boys of the hobby, maybe these are the cards that should be at this price. The big guns, like not even the Anthony Edwards. Like, Anthony Edwards doesn't belong in this conversation. Not even Tyrese Halliburton, maybe not even an SGA or a Jason Tatum for that point. Guys that have won championships. The problem was in COVID, it was like even guys like Admiral Schofield went up crazy. Guys like Luka. Luka's a little bit of a different one because you could see that sort of elite potential there. But I mean, clearly Luka was like up way too high during COVID. But I think the other one, classic one, is like Ja Morant and Zion Williamson. That just went to hugely ridiculous numbers, as high as Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, as high as LeBron James in some instances. So maybe actually what we're seeing here is we're not seeing this huge proliferation of widespread inflated prices. We're just seeing it on very select cards and very select inserts or very select players or autographs. And actually, maybe that's what we want to be seeing in the hobby. At Ethan F. Campbell 5, do you think we will see a big drop in the blue chip cards, or will it kind of just level out? If you're a short-term flipper, there's probably cause for concern. But if you're looking at 5 to 10-year holds, you think it'll be all right. I actually don't think there's a lot to be concerned about here, just because it is only select cards. And maybe the argument was at this price here, they were just too low. I'd love to have these guys on to talk more about this. I'm genuinely fascinated on it. And we're going to finish this week's show with a little bit of card porn. And it is to round out the segment we did last week. It is talking about the alter egos. We've had a couple more cards come out from this set, and here is the Joker card. What a fantastic design. What a fantastic piece of artwork here. I believe they've got this represented almost as like a good guy, bad guy, or an alter ego type concept here. That is absolutely banging. I cannot wait to get my hands on this one here. Someone's done an AI job here where it's got Joker on the top and then the Heath Ledger Joker on the bottom there. Yeah, absolutely banging. Alrighty, so we have got here a Leaf LeBron James patch. This is from TikTok listener Matthew. And his question via DM to me is, did I get a good price? And the first card is a LeBron James Leaf Ultimate Sports Fat Patch, number 2 out of 4. And a Kevin Durant bonus shots sticker autograph, numbered 34 out of 50. And he paid 250 AUD for the Kevin Durant, and I don't know what he paid for the LeBron James patch. Just for a little bit of background on Leaf, Maddie, Leaf is a not official or unlicensed product. That's the better way to say it. So it does offer value in terms of being able to get into players for a little bit cheaper. But the issue is around, it's like buying into Panini now, where it's not the official product. So if you can get past that and you just love the patch for what it is and you love the card for what it is, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all, particularly if you're managing your budget. Game worn 2 out of 4. That is super low. Okay, so this is almost exactly your card. In fact, I'm going to almost go out into a limb and say that is your card. Did you get a good price? You haven't told me how much you paid for it, Maddie. So it last sold here a year ago for $215. I actually think LeBron's prices have gone up a lot. So if you paid $300 for that, I would love to see the back of the card though too, man, because Depends if it's game worn or not too. And then the next card that you picked up is a Kevin Durant that looks like a sticker autograph, 34 out of 50 on the bonus shots, and it's stickered at 250. I think for KD at 250, just off the top of my head, that is not terrible at all. I'm not too sure if that's Aussie or American, Matt. If that's Aussie dollars, 150 USD to AUD is about 220. That's totally fine. If you've paid 250 American, that's a little bit overs. However, no, there's a bit of variation on this card, isn't there? Oh, that's a while ago. Let's just say that you've paid 250 Aussie for it. I think that's totally fine. If you've paid 250 American for it, it's not the best price that you've ever gotten. But I would say this, Matt, we have all made hobby mistakes. That you cannot show me one single hobbyist out there that has not made a hobby mistake. So if your mistake is to overpay by $100 very early on, take your lump and move on for it. My advice to you is to do one of two things. Get a card letter account. This is not a paid advertisement. This is just a service that I use. I find it to be quite good. There are other platforms out there that you can use too. There's 130point.com. That's run by Lane Pierce. He's an Australian guy. That is a dedicated comping tool. Okay. You can use that for free. The other thing you can use too is eBay sold listings. So, for example, Kevin Durant bonus shots. What you have to do though, man, is go down here and turn this on here, the sold items. And yours is to 50. So that's why yours hasn't come up. Just put that into 50 and then hopefully we'll get your card to come up. There you go. And it's last sold for 220 Aussie. So yeah, that's 3 tools that it's at your fingertips. There is actually other apps and there's other programs that different people use, but that's the 3 that I personally prefer. There's not one that's better than the other, man. As long as you can find them and you can get the stats out of it, it just doesn't matter at all. Like, it just doesn't matter at all. It's a nice looking card. I like it. You'll be able to trade it. You'll be able to sell it in the future, man. That is a card. Check this out. 2015-16 iMac dual patch on card autograph BGS 9. That is absolutely beautiful. Alrighty, let's do this. This is from Sports Cards Nonsense, Brian McCann. This is a long one, so settle in, guys. I will read through this. PSA, I am mad. I flew out to the National to drop off 4 Michael Jordan autographs. The total value of these cards is around $500,000. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's USD, including 2 1986 Fleer rookies and 2 1991 Hoops cards, the regular issue, and the McDonald's Dream Team card. Each of these signatures has been previously authenticated by BGS, DGA, GOAT, and others. As a major MJ auto collector, I do not buy questionable autographs ever. The pedigree has to be right, and GOAT has to review it first. That was the case here. The Hoops and DT cards were signed back-to-back, same marker, same hand. PSA was offering 4-hour turnaround times when the show started. I paid $12,000 to have these 4 cards reviewed same day, 4 hours at the show. About 2 hours after paying all of that money, PSA came out and said they were essentially didn't anticipate the demand at the show and would not honor half-day or full-day turnarounds. What? I just paid $12,000. I went back to the booth to explain I had only flown to Chicago for that service. They told me they would aim to have the cards done by the end of the National. I told them I couldn't stay all week and was leaving that night. PSA told me my cards would be mailed to me within 2 to 3 weeks. So I paid for walkthrough service on some very expensive cards. PSA couldn't honor it, so now I am paying to wait. PSA has not offered a refund yet of any kind. Instead, I just received a call. First, they need another $5,000 because one of the MJ rookies graded out better than expected. No, they are not willing to consider the expedite fees I already paid them that they could not honor. They want more money. Apparently, the fact they could not honor the 4-hour service I paid for is my fault. And one of the 4 cards PSA said has questionable authenticity. Mind you, all 4 cards have strong pedigree and multiple authentications. All 4 of them have been previously authenticated and documented, but now magically The McDonald's Dream Team card has questionable authenticity, despite the fact it was signed in the same hand with the same marker as the Hoops card, and both signatures are identical because they were signed back to back. My issue is I paid $600 for a same-day review of that card. I didn't get a same-day review, and now I have to send this card in again, an autograph I am 110% positive is authentic. They want me to wait 2 to 3 weeks to get it back and then pay to send it back for another review. You can't make this up. Why doesn't PSA have a process to review their work before it's sent back? I'm the customer. They are wrong. They are certainly capable of being wrong. I paid $12,000 for these 4 cards, and now you want another $5,000. So $17,000 for 4 cards to be graded. That was supposed to be the same day, and one of them you are mishandling. Is this the best PSA can do? $17,000 is the cost of a car. Come on, guys. I understand they are busy, but if you act like a monopoly, eventually your customers will treat you like one. We really deserve better. Professional sports authenticator, PSA, let me know if anyone has any advice. More than the money, it's the principle of paying for something you didn't receive and the incompetence that's insane when they charge that much money. Crazy, crazy story. So I think we just start off from the top. This is really a situation of extremely high-end cards. And I think the first thing I'll just want to insert into this, anything that I say from here is not me having a lack of empathy for this guy. It's really not. If I was this guy, I would absolutely be upset. But I'd also say too, part of this is absolutely circumstantial. And I think the first thing that is circumstantial around this is around how many cards that they took in. And I think at this point in time with PSA, you know that they will push the envelope when it comes to how many cards are being submitted. They've taken millions and millions of cards now on Backlog, millions of cards, not just hundreds of thousands. We're talking millions of cards now on Backlog. And so for them to blow out their wait times at the Nationals for their walk-in, it's not really that surprising. I would also say too, I think the demand for the walk-in service is going to be significantly higher just for the fact that you can't get cards graded quickly at the moment because of what's going on with the massive backlog that's going on. The next part of this too is that it's a little bit ignorant of this guy to be complaining about them as a monopoly and as a PSA, because he's not doing this for friendship either. He knows that if he's crossing them over from BGS to PSA, he's going to make an absolute bucket load of more money. And that's the only reason why he'd be doing this. I think he's doing this to get them on-sold. And so, this is part of doing business, and he would know this too. The part about the autographs not being authentic, or the single card that doesn't have the authentic autograph on it, I think that's a separate issue altogether from him walking in and not getting the cards back in the particular turnaround time. Because I think part of the risk of having aftermarket autographs on the cards is either they will be authenticated and they're not real, or they be authenticated to be not real when in fact they're real. I think that's absolutely part of the risk of it all being done. So he would know that going into this. And I think him talking about the pedigree and that they've been previously authenticated, if he has all of the letters there and they're still in the BGS slabs, I absolutely think that would positively contribute to it getting through at PSA. But at the same time, if he's cracked it out, if he doesn't have the letters with him, those details aren't written there, it's not included in that. I mean, I would assume he would bring along as much evidence as he could. But then again, maybe he wants PSA to look at them with fresh eyes and not be influenced by what BGS had previously given them. The part when he says that they want another $5,000, that is PSA's policy. We all know about that. That's the upcharge fee. So he clearly must be making an absolute mozza of these Jordans if one of them has gone through. Final thought on what PSA should be doing in this instance. If he's paid more money than the service that he's received, PSA should absolutely refund that money back to him. If their policy is not to refund people money back, which I think is what's going to happen here, they should at least give him some form of site credit. So let's just say he paid $12,000 and in fact he should have only paid $8,000. He should receive a $4,000 credit to use at PSA. I think that's the only way PSA can possibly make this right. And again, this is the poor man's version of this story. The other day I was in at Coco Black buying chocolate. They had an offer for 3 blocks for $35 or so. They also had another offer at the same time too. If you spend $35, you get a free hot chocolate and a little chalky on top of that too. That's the type of customer service that makes you want to come back. The customer service when you pay $12,000 for something and you get a $5,000 value is what really rubs people the wrong way and makes you not want to come back or go online and complain about how bad PSA is. And let's just read through a couple of the comments here because I'm pretty sure I know what most of the comments is going to be. This is from Todd. Make raw cards cool again. MRCCA. I actually think that's a really cool idea for a t-shirt, to be honest with you guys. Matt Langdale. This is insane. Oh, this card costs more money than we thought. So now give us more money too. Effing scam of the century, that pathetic business is. Yeah, I think that is becoming more and more said out there by people. But I think at the same time too, it really is about how much money you can make off PSA. I don't think we should mince words on this in any part at all. I think the bit that sucks about the upcharge is that if the card goes down and you've graded at the peak, you're double losing because you're not going to get that money back on the sale and you've also paid more on the grading. I've actually got one in my own collection that I got upcharged on and genuinely concerned that I won't even get back what I've put into this card. Like, it's possible I won't even break even on it. It's a Paulo Banchero rookie Crown Royal autograph. So Rob Sanders, it's only a matter of time before we're seeing, did you pay to have PSA grade your cards? Ads from class action lawsuit firms on Facebook. And there currently is a lawsuit going on with PSA at the moment, but we touched on that earlier in this week's episode too. There's a lot of people talking about here charging back the cost on your credit card. I don't think that's a good idea at all. Grading is a scam, is said here. Sean Hallenbeck, I would have walked into the back and demanded my cards be handed to me. No way in hell I leave $500,000 there. Yeah, I mean, that's a really tough one, isn't it? I wouldn't want them to be shipped across the country. It's just too much money. It's too much risk. This is from Patrick Ewing Collectibles in the Instagram feed. Stop feeding the monkeys peanuts. It's all an agenda. They are doing it on purpose to push everyone onto Beckett. I think PSA has given so many collectors reasons to go across to Beckett, man. Honestly, so many reasons to go across to Beckett. And people have definitely graded more cards with them, but at the same time, more people are going to CGC at the moment than to Beckett. That was really surprising for me. I know a lot of that is Pokemon and TCG, but still, all the reasons in the world for people to be using Beckett, and still people aren't doing it. John Swendon, this is why I don't grade my cards. They can arbitrarily charge you more whenever with no guarantees. And you absolutely can feel like that, man. That's absolutely true. Jason Martin, no idea why people are still using this company. Collectors could have propped up a competitor by now. Jason, the only reason why is money, because you get more money back on your PSA sales afterwards. It's as simple as that. Until that changes, almost no matter what PSA do, this is going to still keep happening in perpetuity. I would really like to see a set fee, though, like what Beckett does. That would make me really happy to see that. Anthony Krupe. Collectors use PSA, and then when they get screwed by PSA, they whine. Then go back. Stop whining and stop using PSA. Yeah, 100%. We all come back, don't we? Gregory Wells. Anyone that pays $12,000 for card grading is insane. It's all on a scale, man. It's all on a scale. It's crazy for a $5 card, but if it's a $250,000 card, that's the right price. He might have just doubled his money by spending $12,000. Patrick Ewing Collectibles. Also, Steve Grad is at the National. Can easy have a professional authenticate the Jordans. His word holds up in the industry. Yeah, and I think he did touch on that already. He did believe that the provenance was very strong on those cards. Alrighty, guys, we are going to take a break from this PSA railing. We're going to do a mail day, and we're going to do my own PSA reveal, and then we're going to do some card porn. From a mail day from a listener. This is from Hayden Rugery. Hayden, if you are listening, thank you very much for the fun deal. We did two parts to our deal. I bought a Joel Embiid rookie card, 2014, PSA 9 base, and he did that for me for $40, I believe, which was bang on comps at the time. And then for an extra $10, I asked him to chuck me in an autograph like a mystery pack. So, guys, this is what he sent me through for $10. How did I go for the deal? All of this for $10. Jonas Valanciunas base card, JJ Redick base card, Leon Edwards base card, Martin Bude rookie UFC card, Nikola Vucevic red from Revolution Basketball, Damian Lillard from Revo base, Brook Lopez in a Lakers uniform, Tobias Harris, Wesley Matthews, Vernon Carey, rookie card from Revolution, on the Astro. Rookie card, RJ Barrett for the Knicks from Optic. And this autograph here, Tyler Kolek, heir apparent, numbered to 125. I thought that was to 25 for a second. That's out of Court Kings. I think for $10, that is 10 out of 10. So Hayden, thank you so much, man. That is awesome. Now on to my PSA reveal. So this is a Manu Ginobili gold prism numbered to 10 with an autograph on it. I got this graded through the hobby. I dropped this off on the 26th of April at the Hobby Hangout. I picked it up from my mailbox on the 31st of July. All in all, pretty quick turnaround. $50 for the grading fee plus shipping. I did pay for the more expensive shipping to come back because every day that Australia Post has my card that they don't need to, as far as I'm concerned, is a bad day. So cool. I've actually done this the right way. All right, here we go. So you can see there, Manu Ginobili, 8 out of 10 on that. I'm not expecting this to be anything more than an 8 because I did not get an upcharge. Wow. PSA 9 on that. That is crazy. I cannot tell you how happy I am with that. If I had got a 6 on this, I would have been, I can't believe that. I am genuinely speechless. I sent it off for cleaning too. I think that cost me $10 or something around that. I wanted to get this graded for 2 reasons. I think that this is a very good long-term hold for me. And the second reason is too, if I ever do want to flip it out in the future, I think even if it was a PSA 6, it will do really well. As a PSA 9, I cannot believe that. I am genuinely ecstatic. That is well above my expectations. So thank you to PSA. Thank you to the Hobby Hangout. Thank you to Team The Hobby. That is super cool. Last item of the day. Let's do this. This is a non-NBA story. However, we have to talk about this because Shine put this on his Instagram the other day, and he said that he secured the purchase. And we're talking about the 2026 Topps Chrome Shohei Ohtani dual autograph, logo man autographs, English and kanji. So it's 2 autographs by Shohei, one in English and one in kanji. He put this onto his Instagram the other day, confirming that he had obtained the card, and he said he paid above $10 million for it. Then just a couple of days later, it's confirmed by Card Ladder, and they've put it out into their social media at $11 million. And I'm actually going to tie this back to what we were talking about before with things that rich people do, us poor people don't know about. Like this, to me, it's a really great card. It's a fantastic concept. I'm not taking anything away from it, but for this to get up to $11 million, it really does just frazzle my head, and I almost don't understand how it can get that high. Irregardless of that, super happy for the guy. I'm going to keep an eye out onto his Instagram because usually Shine will put out posts, and particularly if he picks up something really good, he might even give us a bit more insight into it as to why he paid so much for it, who he was competing against. Yeah. And this is coming straight from the Instagram page. This private sale has not been verified by Card Ladder's research team. From Fanatics Collect's Instagram account, IG, @Collect, this Shohei Ohtani card just sold for $11 million. The one-of-one Shohei Ohtani gold logo man card features game-worn patches from his back-to-back MVP seasons, along with both an English autograph and rare kanji. Sterling cards. People are putting bounties on this thing before it even been pulled, and now a private sale. What a month. The bottom 2 comments here are actually hidden by Instagram. One says money laundering, one says scam. The thing about Shine, though, is that he might be money laundering, but I don't think it's a scam. Like, the thing about this guy is he is a genuine collector of the high-end stuff. And that just might be hard for us to understand. My understanding of Shine is that he's a crypto dude. So if you want to make the argument about money laundering, maybe you're sort of pointing that in the wrong direction. Maybe he does launder some money through cards, but the cards that guy has in his collection is just absolutely insane. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate all of your support. And to all of my Instagram followers out there, we have made it to 2,000 followers. Thank you so much for all of your support. That is super cool. That is super fun. And I am grateful for you all. Have a great week. Hopefully, I'll have an episode with Kyle Legacy. And if I don't, I'll be back next week with the mighty Joe Fu before my 1-week holiday in the beautiful Bali. Take care of yourselves, guys. Peace out. Bye-bye.